Good morning and welcome to TalkSports. It is our Saturday sports special, our weekly program where we discuss sporting issues. Or sometimes we speak with the movers and shakers in sports, the sportsmen, sportswomen, sports administrators, coaches, just about everyone involved in sports. Well, on this week's program, as indicated, we will begin our countdown to the Summer Olympics, the Paris Olympic Games, uh, opening in about 2 weeks' time. Uh, well, less than, because the opening ceremony is scheduled for the following Friday. Yes, the 26th, and we get into action 27. But as in the case of the Caribbean, where the biggest following for the Olympic Games is actually the athletic section, track and field, where most Caribbean nations participation in the Olympic Games come in the form of track and field. Okay, it's highly likely that a Caribbean island will be represented in track and field, and probably boxing or swimming or tennis or something, or gymnastics or something like that. So always an interest for the Caribbean folks. So and that will start on the 1st of August, by the way, right? August 1st, I think, yeah. So starting this week, we'll be looking at the Caribbeans, and obviously there will be an interest in Grenada's participation in the Olympic Games. It will be the first in the what we would say post-COVID, because even with the delayed Tokyo Olympic Games, which actually came in what should have been 2020, came in 2021. Folks were still wearing masks. There was still a lot of restrictions. So this one will be the first one where, less restrictions, I should say, because there's still some restrictions some places. You still go. I don't know if it's delayed to be. You'll see some signs, stating that. In fact, I saw in a restaurant where they say the sign is still up saying that you must be wearing a mask to enter the restaurant. But I just laugh at it, because while the sign is up, patrons in looking at it, and even the workers in the restaurant without masks. So I say, well, they just forgot that one. They forgot to take it out. Nevertheless, so my co-host is Rudian Sylvan is joining me today, and we'll be discussing the prospects and likelihood of the Olympic Games, where all the attention will now turn to the Olympic Games. After World Championships, World Relays, all of that, it's now the Olympic Games. Good morning to you, Rudian.
Good morning to you, sir. How you doing? Pleasure to
Yes,
be
I'm
on with
fine. I
you.
think,
Certainly, I
and
have
I
seen
think,
some signs up, still saying, distance yourself, and they still, you know,
yeah, yeah,
surely the precaution is there, and then it should, Um, however, certainly, But before the Olympic Games, we do have some very, very interesting
yeah.
football
I
game, as we call it.
well, yeah. I didn't say anything yet because I know I wanted to. In fact, I'm looking there at the schedule, and I wanted to just briefly
Yeah,
talk about some interesting, because there are a lot of sports. In fact, just before
yeah.
coming on air, I was actually watching the tennis, the women's championship at
The women
Wimbledon.
championship. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Wimbledon. So I was watching that, and then I think there is now the cricket is now on. The World Championships of Legends is
Yeah.
now on. Okay, and let me see the. I think it's Paloni, the Italian, who actually won, right? Yeah, she won. Um, the and then you talk about football, because we have the Euro um championship.
Hmm.
We also
Yeah.
have the Copa America,
Copa.
right?
Yeah. I think there's
Because
two games today. One Euro, one Copa for third place,
yeah, the
and
third
tomorrow
place.
is the finals. Yeah.
Well, I think you'll remember that because you and your partner obviously will be glued to the television. I'm talking about Lincoln Toro Depredine, because Canada will be playing Uruguay for the third
Yeah.
place. That's
Third place. Yeah.
8 o'clock this evening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be playing. And then on the Sunday, well, Sunday, by the way, we have the Euro 2024, Spain versus England.
Yeah.
right? This is an afternoon game, which is 3 p.m., right? Um, I'm telling you, boy. If you're not a sports fan, I'm here saying that, I believe it's about half or three quarter of your life being wasted. Eh?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. What a
Certainly.
world,
Certainly.
Rudy, and what a world without sports.
Yeah. I don't know what it will be.
What it will
Chaos.
be? Chaos,
Chaos.
confusion,
And I always
frustration.
say that, we on here and we talk sports, and we said sometimes we want government, especially in the Caribbean, to, sports build nations. We see it in the European countries, and not any sports, football, as they say over there, they say soccer, build nations, literally. It builds, and you see the fans traveling, way far and near, to support, in that sport more than any other games, any other sport,
I think
so it certainly is a difference.
just the travel side for sports
Yeah.
is in multi-billion dollar is a
Multi-billion.
multi-billion dollar sector.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
travel
Yeah.
side. We're
The
not
travel
we're not
side. Yeah.
we're not talking about the sort of income from for the players and the participants.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
travel aspect, the
Does
hospital,
the travel alone. I mean,
the
I saw a link. Don't know if it's a true link, and surprisingly, I should know because Manchester United is my team. Um, and that young 16-year-old is going to be going there and getting what, 117,000 pounds a week, he's just turned 17. And it's like, what?
you are
Okay.
you are you are a brave soul to talk about Manchester United, my team, just like that.
I
I mean,
I
go
have
ahead.
to, in spite of what, I hang on, I don't let go.
Go
It's
ahead.
like being a Cowboys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I hang on, but certainly, it's there, and I really would love to see, governments see that, as in the Caribbean, seeing that literally sports can build the nation, sports can avoid crimes, and sports can, really put a better financial burden into the country, if they really, look at that, and put the time and effort and see what sports can do. And I certainly believe that it can. I really like to see that everywhere. We see here in hockey in Canada, we don't, and football is slowly coming up, but funny enough, Michael, soccer in this part of the world is bigger in numbers than hockey. Not necessarily mean in terms of, what's more popular. We see soccer with the kids, because it goes very young, and the price point for soccer compared to hockey is way cheaper, right? So definitely, it's certainly something that we see that, playing football is a big thing, and surely would like to see it across the globe and across,
Right,
the Caribbean, bigger than it is.
right. So coming up in the next few days, I don't even want to say weeks, because obviously, the opening ceremony for the Olympic Games normally is a big spectacle, and you always want to see what this nation is doing compared to the last one.
Yep.
So we want to see what Paris will show. Well, France, Paris is the city, the host, will do
And it's
better
a
than
different
Tokyo.
setup, and
Right,
it's a total different setup
right,
based on what we are hearing and the glimpse that we are seeing. How they're
right.
going to do the opening ceremony seem like it's going to be amazing. And they had challenges because, recently there was the big protest in Paris, and we're hoping that wouldn't take away from, what they want to do. But there's challenges, but I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, it will test the readiness, the French, and because we had the protests, and the protests are political as well as
Yeah,
socioeconomic and all sort of things. We had the issue with Palestine and Israel. We have
in Israel. Yeah, yeah.
the issue with the European and the immigration issue. So there are a lot of things on their plate apart from ensuring that it is a safe
Ensuring that
game.
everything goes
know,
smooth and it's safe. Yeah.
certainly, there will be those who have in their mind that what a better stage to put on their protests because they will get the media attention. They will get the world.
Attention.
See, for that 3 week period, the world attention will be in Paris for the Olympic
Yep.
Games, right?
For the Olympic Games.
So
Yeah.
obviously there'll be those who will be thinking, what a better stage to do that.
Yeah.
So these are sort of things that you have to be bearing in mind, and a lot of things that the French authorities, because remember at one point they were thinking about where they should host the opening ceremony,
Opening ceremony.
all these sort of things, and the security challenges it faced, whether they should use the river, whether they should put all the athletes on the barge,
On the barge,
and all these sort of things,
Yeah.
Whether they should
But I think they are doing the river, right? Isn't it the river?
well, there were debates about
Yeah, there are debates
river,
about it. Yeah,
stadium, all these sort of things, and the sort of challenges it faced, the
challenges it face. Yeah,
logistics, all of that. Nevertheless, when the competitors, and I say competitors, get to the stage to compete, we will be, and I say we as spectators, will be looking to cheer them on, right? I know in Grenada we have a tendency of, we get distracted for a while. So, for the past 2 days, almost every day there's some, what they say, breaking the internet. Something is breaking the internet, and then everyone gets heated up about the Olympics and 473 and and this and that and things like that. So my thing is that, hey guys, if we supporting our competitors, let's support them. Let's wish them all the best. Let's look out for them, doing their best, because the Olympic Games, for many, it is the pinnacle of sporting supremacy, right? Unlike the World Championships, which in athletics, for example, or swimming, where only the swimmers, only the track and field athletes, when you come to the Olympics, it's about 41 sporting events, including climbing and breakdancing and all these
I
sort of
think
things.
people will really want to see how you score breakdancing. I think eyes will be on that to see, okay, what? Okay, so it's going to be interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have all these things, right? And so therefore, a lot of people look forward to the Olympic Games, and even the participants themselves being an Olympian, So there's a lot of things for the competitors and the spectators to look forward to for the Olympic Games. First of all, you want to know who will be representing your country. And I hope, we always have this thing about this person should be selected over this person and that. And especially when you're not following, you don't know the criteria for selection. Right. However, our team is selected, and when it's announced on Tuesday, it will be officially announced, right? I think they're announcing it via press briefing. My thing is, and I'm talking about Grenada, some nations have already announced their teams. It is all well and good for us to just throw the support behind our competitors. Obviously, you'll have your favorites. You will have those who, you're looking forward to doing their best. Let's support them, right? We know so far that we can count on at least 3 athletes, track and field athletes, that we know have qualified, right?
Yeah.
We have Kirani James in the 400 meters, we have Anderson Peters in the javelin, and we have Lyndon Victor in the decathlon. They have earned their rights virtue of, for example, Kirani would have won the Diamond League last 400 meters, Diamond League last season. He would have done it also in terms of qualifying times. Anderson Peters as a defending champion, Olympic champion. No, not Olympic, sorry.
World champion.
Why I say an Olympic champion? He's a 2-time Olympic champion. World champion. I still say, 2-time world champion. And we have the decathlete Lyndon Victor, obviously our Commonwealth Games champion as well. So there are a lot of things going for us in terms of that. And then there are others who would have gotten in by virtue of the quota system, which is a bit, confusing this time around when you have the quota system, right? Remember, Mr. Keith Joseph was kind of giving us an explanation when he was on the program
Yeah,
last
yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah.
And so in terms of Grenada, you can confirm that we are entering two disciplines: track and field and
And
swimming.
swimming.
Yeah, we have track and field and swimming. The entire team will be officially announced come Tuesday. The Grenada Olympic Committee is hosting a press briefing on Tuesday, as far as I understood, and that will be officially announced in terms of the officials and all of that and things like that. We want to wish our competitors all
All
the
the
best.
best.
Yeah,
Yep.
we want to wish them all the best. I know there are those who have their favorites and those who are speculating and things like that. So, but certainly,
The difference in the Olympics is certainly is more towards a country,
yeah,
and that's why it's such a significant for when someone is representing the country compared to going to the World Championships and any other games. There's nothing beyond the Olympic Games. That's where it stopped for sports, right? That's why they try to bring our kind of different sport in as possible, because certainly that's where it stops. So definitely, it's a big deal, and looking forward to that, and I'm seeing that. I think it's going to be good for the athletes. And you hear athletes talk about it and talk about how what it means to them, representing the country in the Olympic Games, compared to any other sport. That is certainly a big deal. So I think it's going to be good. The athletes, very excited towards that, and I think it's going to be something to tune into. And like you said, we have to support our athletes, regardless of who it is and who they are. You on mute.
yeah, I think should be one of the best ever. Okay, yeah, certainly. Let me see. Would you agree with Edwin? Good morning, Edwin.
Uh,
Edwin, kind of explain to me when you say
yeah,
one of
it's
the best. No, no, no. It could be, but in
it
terms of
could be, but in terms of what?
what, right?
Mm,
I know Edwin Sam is a track and field fanatic, right? So it
yeah.
could be in terms of the track and field, certainly. And
If
as I
if
said,
if
go
I
ahead.
have to say, and I agree with him, I am really looking forward to watching almost every women's sport. Um, that not only in track and field, but we're seeing the competitiveness in women now, um, and the way what they're bringing out. Like we see, for example, WNBA had two players that just turned WNBA upside down, and now you're seeing people want to see what's happening on the track with the women. And I say, like we spoke here before, from the 1500 down, it's going to be very, very interesting in the women. Not as much in the men, on my side, but not as much in the men. The excitement is not as there as it is in the women. So certainly, I think yes, if you want to say that, and to some of the women, maybe Shellyan could be her last one. Um, this could be Kirani's last Olympic Games. Could be. We don't know. A lot of people competing could be their last. So certainly, I think Talu could be her last as well. So most definitely, I think it'll be interesting for those athletes and seeing them on the Olympic stage for the last time. But that
Right.
could, kind of make a difference. And yeah,
Okay, so Quincy is saying in terms of track and field, it will be the most competitive. Well, yes. So we have to agree.
yeah,
Especially as what you're saying, for example, you just talk about, let's say the women's but I don't even want to say the women's 100. Let's say the women's sprint, right?
women's sprints.
Both
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one and the
women's
200
sprints.
meters.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I
if
believe.
hold on, if
I
you look at hold on, Rudian, because if you look at what's happening now
mhm.
with the women's, a lot of Shakari and what's her name and Sharika
Sharika and yeah,
and even and by the way, I don't want to leave out that the English Dina Smith, right? I don't want to
I
leave
do
out.
not.
But
Well,
then
don't
look at
forget
Alfred. Look at
Alfred. That's
Alfred.
what I'm about to say. Don't forget
That's what I'm
Alfred.
saying.
And
Don't forget
I keep
Alfred.
saying it. Don't forget
Yes,
Talu. Don't like anything can
right.
happen in those races.
That's what I'm
Anything.
saying.
Yeah.
Anything could happen,
Mm-hmm.
and we should not just look at the Diamond League, because one of the things I was on a discussion last night, as a matter of fact, and it was, hey, yes, the Diamond League, you run one race, but remember when you go to the
Yeah.
Olympics, you go to the World Championship, you have
It's
to run
three
what,
rounds. Or
three
three
rounds,
rounds or 4 rounds. Yeah. 3 rounds.
depending
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all
It's
well
not
and
the
good.
same.
You can gauge them. You can probably gauge them now. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the Olympics, when they have to do the prelims, they have to do the
Brilliant. Yeah.
semis, and then
Yeah.
they have to do the
And
final.
and
But
uh and certainly what makes it so interesting for the US, they're definitely trying to get back on the podium in first place, is because she only doing the 100 meters.
Mhm.
Um, she didn't qualify for the 200. So all her effort is in that race. And that,
Your audio just went, Rudian. Yeah,
you know,
yeah. It just was going and coming. Yeah.
is coming up there. Yeah. And that we see the same thing with Pocket. That the fact that, this will be her last one. Talu, this could be her last one, and that's all they're running, just that race. So make it excited. However, we look at, if you go back in the days of watching the 100 meters, I believe there was way more competition in the back in the days. You know, there was some really tough competition,
Well,
compare way more than today. Um,
well, hold on. It could be every period will have a level of competitiveness, right?
yes,
What will be different is probably the time. For example, look at the 800 meters in the Monaco Diamond League yesterday.
yes, I
141.
watched that.
Oh, come on.
141. Yeah, yeah, I saw that yesterday.
Probably 5 or 10 years ago, if a man runs 141, you'll
145,
say you will.
145. I think it was,
No, no,
yeah,
no,
like
no, no. Hold on.
145 or so.
If
Yeah,
if someone runs that kind of time 5 or 10 years ago, you'll say he's on steroids, right?
yes,
Now, if a man 10 years ago was running a sub 44, 43 point, you will certainly say, test this guy, he is on steroids, right? That's what I'm saying. So every
yeah,
period has this level of competitiveness. What you have to look at is the times, because look, you have to be running a sub 45 now to actually qualify for the world champs or the Olympics or something like that. So,
44,
right?
40. Soon you're gonna be 43.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying,
yeah,
because athletes are getting faster, right?
yeah,
So there's some level of so every period will have its level of competitiveness. You cannot
yeah.
compare probably the boat era. Yes, there was this fierce competition among them, but it was almost certain that you go into the 100 meters with a bolt, and you're expecting Bolt to win, except probably he fall started or something else, or he pull up or something like that, which was rare, rare.
Yeah, yeah.
The last time Bolt probably fall started was when what? The World
They're
Champs
World
in
Championships. Yeah, 20, yeah.
2019 or something like that. So
2019. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, these sort of things. So that was it now. But when you look at it now, you cannot really say, boy, lies, look at the man that could take the 100. Or, oh, Thompson, boy, Thompson from Jamaica, he's
Yeah.
looking, it's wide open, as those guys are saying. That's Edwin and Chris.
It is,
Very
it is.
competitive.
But you go back to Gail Divas and Molinati, Marion Jones. They were running almost the same
Well,
times,
no,
or
no.
they're faster than the women running today.
What you had then was a cadre of competitive
Yeah,
athletes.
competitive athletes.
What
Yes,
you have now is probably a handful,
a
but there's
handful.
there's a level of competitiveness still. What
Competitive.
you
Yeah,
had then, you had probably when they line up, the 8 of them line up, then
it's hard to tell.
any one of them, right?
Anyone
Any one of
could
them,
win. Yes,
because you had
yes.
8 good athletes,
Really
great
good
athletes.
athletes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, you do.
as
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said, the Merlin Artley and all of them, right?
yeah.
Now you probably have about 3 or 4 that you could say, hey,
That
this
you
is could
kind of
yeah,
point. Yeah,
that could be the 1, 2, 3, and things like that. So that
yeah.
is what it is, right?
That's what it is. Yeah, yeah. And some of them is wide open. You kind of know you're going to see the difference
True,
between Sydney
true.
McLaughlin and both of them. And it's yes, and it's that even that race could be an open race too for both of them, right? So certainly, I think it's going to be interesting. And some could be right. It could be one of the best in terms of athletics.
All right. So let's look at, and I don't want to spend too much time just on that because I know guys were like, wow, yesterday when they saw the time. Just a few weeks before the Olympic Games, you had Quincy, um, you had Hall doing what, a 43.8?
For the create, yeah.
Um, Give me some comments. I'm leaving it up to Edwin and Quincy and Roger and others. Comments. Go ahead, Rudian.
That certainly is. I still don't think the world record can break. Um, but I think it's going to be a very fast race. I I certainly could see five guys, including Kirani, running 43 points in that 400. Um, and even though these guys didn't run that fast, then the 400 is open. It's still open. It's still an open race. Um, Anyone could win the 400. They have to go to 3 rounds still, and it's not easy to at that level of competition to run. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's not an open race. It's not an open race in spite of what he run, in spite of how fast that is. We haven't seen that type kind of running in a very long time. Certainly, I still think it's an open race in the Olympic Games, including Kurani could easily be on the podium just as well. That's what I think.
Yeah, the 400. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to agree. I want to agree. It is an open race, certainly.
it's an open race.
It- it-
It's
yeah, I don't want to.
yeah.
You see, I don't want to say so much on it, but I
Listen,
want to agree.
when we speak to um who do we speak to? We had a conversation with our decathlete. Yeah, when we had a conversation with him, Lyndon. It takes a few days for him to recover. As he said, at least a week or so after he do a complete, the days of running a decathlon, it takes a while to recover. And I'm thinking when you at that level in especially in the 400, it not necessarily takes a week, but the body need at least 2 days to recover. And and you have to do this 3 times. Now, if they're smart, they run smart because they know top two move on, so they kind of would know how to run it. You know, but you run that fast 3 weeks ago, you got to come back and do it. 4 weeks later, that is a lot on the body at that level. Of competition. Like we look at the 16-year-old who's running, world class times, close to what this guy's name is running now at 16. Are we going to say, oh, by the time he reaches 24, he's going to run 41 point? I don't think that would. I don't even think that's even impossible. So I'm kind of worried for him. I'm happy and I'm worried that he probably maybe hit his peak, and is coming closer to hitting his peak because 16 years old. You go 10 years later, which put him at 26, where most athletes is really at the peak in the sport. Where would he be?
Um,
So
I'm
it's
laughing at I'm laughing at Quincy's comment, because he's
oh, I
saying
didn't
that
I didn't even see that. Yeah.
we have dealt with guys like him before. We won't be scared by such guys because and it's
Surely.
interesting. It's interesting
Yeah.
because I want us to, and I want you, Quincy, Roger, and Edwin, and others to chime in on the issue with Van de Kerk, right? Because Van
Hmm.
de Kerk opted out of the 400, and he's
And
now running the 200, and I think the relays or something like that.
but then look at
So,
that too. Even with him, he did it one time. It never happened again. It was
but
utterly innate, and
but
we never seen that from him. Like
but
even that level of running from him again, even though
let
he
me
was injured, which I get.
Well, he did it and also recovered in hospital. Remember,
He
don't
did
forget that.
recover in hospital because he had to go to the hospital. So, and because it was orderly late, he tell himself nobody's passing him. So suddenly, that wasn't expected. And the question is asked: if he was in a lane 4, lane 5, would he have run that fast? Because he would have basically timed his race, know how to run, know who's ahead of him, and those things, right? But because he's out there, he had to give it everything, making sure that no one passed him. So he gave it absolutely everything he had. But we never see the level of him anywhere close to that again. I cannot even remember the last time he won a 43 point.
Well, remember, we have to give credit where credit is
Yeah,
due, and we have to also note that remember he had this almost
yeah.
career-ending injury, right?
Injuries. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
So he had that career, and I don't think he had ever fully
Ever
recovered
recovered?
from that
Yeah, from
injury,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Which was foolish of him to go
of
play
him. Yeah,
that
definitely.
sort, that sort of sport,
Yeah.
and things like that. So, and then also remember he changed coach. He moved from
Yeah.
South Africa to
To
Florida.
Africa too. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and things like that. So there are a lot of things that were happening with him and things like that. So, but
But he did it. He's still, he's there. He's always a threat, in the 400, and I don't think anything will ever change from that. So certainly, I think he definitely is.
but do you agree
And
with Roger? Because
uh,
because here's the thing about it. Um, what has happened to the Jamaican world champion? So you see what I'm saying? So Roger may have some merits in his assertion that
I
dark
think
horse.
it's going to be the way they run through the rounds. I think if they control the race by just trying to qualify and not try to run some sort of ridiculous times, I think if they manage that, their body can recover faster, um, and it could be give it all when it comes to the finals. But I think the body can recover. So that's what I think. I certainly think that that's what it's going to be based on how the plan is with the coach, how they run it. Then it's going to be based on that. But then again, you get to the semifinals, three of those guys could be in the same race. They might have to run to make the finals, and then come back maybe a day or 2 days later for the finals. So it's based on what I just said. I agree with Roger. Yeah,
Um,
based on that, because like I said, three of them could be in the finals, in the semifinals, and they have to run and it's top two in the semifinals, like two fastest. So they might not just really have to run to qualify, and then so it might be yes, it might be up to the dark horse could definitely win it.
so Quincy is saying Wade has never been the same since his injury,
Never.
but doing the 200 instead makes things very interesting for the American camp. Noah has his work cut out for him this year in terms of what the double. Um, Quincy, are you referring to the double? Because I still believe that the 100 is still open. It's still
I,
open. Do not underestimate. But yes, we do have Thompson, we have Oblique, we have the Africans. Hey, I still not
the
discounting
Italian,
well, I mean, the Italian is too inconsistent for me,
but then
He's on and off,
it's insistent could happen then,
I
which were
believe,
happening, which were happening. Was it in the Olympics you won it?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was in the
believe, yeah,
Olympics, right? Yeah.
but I believe the Africans, if they come good, should have a very good um, Olympics in track and field. That's providing and I'm talking about South Africa, I'm talking about Botswana, and then not forgetting the long distance running, right?
Long distance
But
running, yeah.
both South Africa and Botswana have shown that they have some very quality athletes in the sprints and the middle distance running, especially the 400 meters, right?
So they're smart. they invest in start investing in get away from some of the distance running, not get away from it, but introducing the sprints, so you get the athletes now training for that. So which is a really smart move for them, and the results is really showing. Listen, you look at Botswana. um, they have a phenomenal 400 group. um, they definitely could get on the podium in the 4x1. They can get on the podium in the 4x4. They can get on the podium in the mixed relay. um they have really Botswana. Just I'm not even talking about the rest of the African nations. Just Botswana have a phenomenal 400-meter. Whatever they're doing over there, I don't know where they're training, but whatever they're doing, it's working for them. It's working for them. And when you think one is dying out, they come with another two. So it's really working for them. So certainly, a lot of people don't like Noah Lyles. A lot of people don't like.
Why?
Let me
Why do you
explain.
think?
Let me take it back. A lot of people don't like his attitude towards how the ignorancy, as they call it. Now, I'm not a big fan of his, but he's a phenomenal athlete. You give credit where credit due. Um, I think he's not going to win the 200. My personally beliefs. The 100-meter is open. I think the 200 is the one that is the open, really open for any of the younger athletes to come in and and definitely try to win that in definitely in that in the 200. But as young guys is running fast, um, and I guess people don't like Noah's cockiness. I think they don't like his
Yeah,
cockiness. Right?
but
They don't
what
like
is
his
no?
cockiness.
Yeah, but you
I'm just
might think
saying,
one way.
just talking with
But
people, right? Yeah,
oh, because I was saying,
yeah.
it may not be anything different to that of Bolt, for example. They bring this level. It's the same thing with Shikari, for example. They believe that these people are bringing something to track and field that has been lacking since Bolt
Yeah, but
left the team.
what Bold bring wasn't a cockiness. Bold bring the finesse, getting the crowd excited
Hold
towards
on,
that, right?
hold on. All right, hold your
Yeah,
thought there because let
yeah.
me. So Roger is saying yes, the 100 meters men is open. Do not rule out Ferdinand. I think after
Hmm.
the semis, we'll know for sure.
We will know for sure what happened. Yeah,
Here Mike Batiste now, on your point you make it. He said Noah is Usain Bolt with an American flag.
no,
That is the issue. If he was a Jamaican doing all that stuff, he will be applauded.
no.
So
What Bold
tell me
did
why.
is totally what Bold was doing was totally different from what he was doing.
How different? I mean,
The- the-
everybody can't
Bo-
do it the same
but
way.
Bold never. Yes, however, Bold wasn't talking to some people. Sometimes I listen to he say something and he mentions somebody's name and say, "Oh, who is that?" Like in that sense, right? Bolt never did that. Bolt had this finesse. In the beginning, he do the Bolt stuff, those type of things, get the crowd
Oh,
into it, right? He was never words for anybody. It was never, a face reaction or anything like that to anyone else.
but
That's the
while
difference.
yeah, while Bolt may have been exemplary on the field in terms of the world record and all these sort of Bolt still had
Yes,
his showboating, right? He was a lot
yes,
of showboating. However, there is nothing different, I would think, because Bolt brought that attention, yes, on the track where he's running. But Noah is bringing the attention probably with his interaction, his social media. Look how he challenged the NBA, for example, the guys in the NBA. Look how he brought that international, that global attention to track and field when he challenged the basketballers. He said, "You guys,
yeah.
we are running against competitors from around the world. You guys are playing among yourself, and you're calling yourself world champions." You know, so I'm saying they're doing it, but doing it differently. He is a social media icon. Both was more on the field of play, but he's still doing what Noah is doing, bringing the attention to the sports. I don't think, and I want to agree with Mike. Um, I want to agree with Mike. Let's take,
I think put it this way. I think um, he haven't lost yet, and until that happen, then you'll see a difference. You see the same thing with Shikari. When she lost, everything changed. You start the attitude change. You start it will change you. So until then, let's see. Because like I said, I like Shikari now compared to then. She is a phenomenal athlete. I love to see her now. You know, she's the mind is there. She really focused. I like her now compared to and when she lost. Changed.
All right. So Roger said, I think the European athletes will be impressive in Paris in all disciplines. Quincy, 100 meters open. So you're not convinced by the Kishin effect. Um, it's probably too early to say. As I would want to say, let's give Kishin up to the semis, and then we can say, let's see how he looks up
How it
to the
looks,
semis
yeah. Up
because
until then.
he's sort of fresh. He's fresh. He's a new kid on the block, right? He's fresh,
Yeah.
right? So let's see how he can navigate the rungs, right? Yes, he's
And
looking.
that's what those are the things we talk about. Those rounds is not just any rounds because like you might be in the race with three other guys or four guys and you have to come top two.
Mm,
That means you get to your personal best have to come out from that
mm,
race and then you gotta come back again and do it in the finals.
mm.
You know?
So
So that's what you see a lot of times most people's semifinals is faster than the actual finals.
Edwin says, Rudy, and I have to push back a bit regarding Lyles. His cockiness is geared to shedding light on the sport. I agree with Mike Batiste. Sport was not overshadowed by the NBA or the NFL. And yeah, that's a point being made because
But you see now, but here's the difference. Um, I guess Bolt would have never. I guess because he was an American, and a lot of stuff happening in America, he kind of put himself in a position. Bolt would never come out and say, "Well, the NBA and the NFL," because Bolt was a Jamaican. You know what I mean? Like there is
no,
no
it doesn't.
Jamaican team
No,
playing. You understand
but
what I mean?
no,
So
no, no,
Bolt was
no.
never like that. Bolt
I
was
would
just
say that
about the sport.
no,
Bolt
I
was
would.
about the sport, and he just
Yeah,
focused on the sport.
but
Noah open up everything else to I listen. I don't have a problem with the NBA saying world champion. I don't have a problem with that. They don't go worldwide. They don't go around saying world champion every single day, and they don't do that. In the moment somebody comes and say the world champion, they say the same thing in football. They say the same thing in baseball. That's what I said. I don't have a problem with that. I personally don't have a problem with that. Absolutely. It's the same how the world championship have people from different places competing from the world competing. The NBA have people from across the world playing in the
yeah,
NBA. Baseball have people around the
yeah,
world
but
playing in the World
hold on.
Championship,
But
right?
what
So
the point he's making is that when he takes to the field to compete, every time he is competing not only among Americans, but he competing among sometimes somebody representing just about all over. Okay, he goes to the Olympics and he will be competing. And even before that, you have those who will be competing among themselves to get into the,
yeah,
those who got there. You know what I'm talking
we
about.
got the yeah.
Like
Countries have
quota
to
and things like that. So,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. They quota, so they'll even
They
have to
have to go. They
compete
have to get compete
before,
to
before
qualify.
to
Yeah,
get into the
yeah.
prelims,
To get
and things
into the
like that.
prelims. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you have all these nations, all these competitors
Hmm.
competing. But when you talk about the NBA, probably 50, 60, 70% of the players are Americans. Baseball, same thing. NFL, same thing. They might be different color, whatever it is, but they are
Yeah,
Americans.
yeah.
I think that's the point he has been making, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
and
I
I
get
think
what you're saying,
it's
but
not.
it's not this is not the fault of other countries.
No, 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 no,
You
no,
can
no, no,
see
no,
it's
no.
NBA is open
I
for
think
anybody. You
hold
have to
on.
put the work in. Yeah.
So I think not just taking it at face value. I think he was trying to bring attention,
No. I get that,
global
and I get
attention,
what you're saying. Yeah,
and
yeah,
saying that, hey, here it is. We are competing against global stars almost every time we go out there. What and you have, for example, you have college baseball series, college softball series, and they call it world champion. It's college
yeah,
world champions. Everything is a world
yeah,
champion. A world champion. I think
yeah.
that is the point. But Mike says both encourage Noah to keep doing what he's doing. He described the grass's challenge in the semis as stupid and said the grass will pay for it, right? And I recall Bolt speaking about Noah and say, hey, Noah, Yes, I remember that part in particular. I can't remember the grass thing, but he did say, tell
I
Noah,
remember the
do
grass.
it.
I remember
And
the
he
grass
said,
thing. Yeah.
Noah, you're doing what the sport needs, right? I agree. Both antics were for the crowd, but not against athletes. Roger says, does the location of the stadium in Paris present any favorable altitude conditions for any particular athletes? And I think there's a level of acclimatization, I should say, rather, because you had the was last Sunday was the 7th. Yeah, you had
Yeah.
the Paris Diamond League, for example. So athletes start getting themselves acclimatized. In fact, I think is this week, Pan Am, for example, sports. There are a number of athletes that will be moving to France to start
Yeah,
acclimatizing
but
themselves.
that, the most people does that, right?
Right. So they have the Pan Am
Most people
camp.
does that
Yeah,
sometime. Yeah, we
yeah,
was in Sydney a whole month before we
yeah.
basically
But
was kind of
yeah,
competing for Sydney,
yeah,
right? So yeah,
some nations have that, but I'm talking about Pan Am sports as Pan Am. They will get a number of the competitors, what they call a camp, prior to the Olympics. They will get them into there
yeah,
probably about
into the
two
camp. Yeah,
weeks, 2 weeks before the Olympics. They go into
yeah,
this camp, and that
yeah.
is even prior to their nation having their things, right?
Yeah.
I know the
And
Jamaican.
I think the Pan Am team, which is part of Canada, I think they are doing a mini meet or really meet somewhere in England, in London, and then they head over prior to because I think they'll be heading out either this
Mike
week.
says
Yeah,
Noah lost plenty times to plenty athletes. Remember the last time he came from the Olympics, he lost. Yeah, he lost a couple of times. Roger said, let's try to understand the wrongs in context of the rum shop. Experience always, always win.
no, and
Gordon,
that's
Gordon
what
says,
I understand what you were saying, right? With that, because if you have that experience in terms of how you run the rounds, then you have a better chance in terms of going to the finals and yeah.
Gordon says, and good morning to you, Gordon Boney. It's very subjective. The majority of exceptional athletes are considered show-offs. Losing will humble anyone, especially if you lose to someone you are not expected to. I think there'll be an upset in the sprint event this Olympics.
They'll be upset. There'll be an upset in both the men and the women. Who they expect to win is not happening. That's you know, I think there'll be an upset. Yeah.
Yeah, Clem,
Nobody expected in the last Olympics for an Italian to win the 100 meter. No one.
yeah, and felt Clem is saying, let me drift away a little here. Olympics as a region, we are, I think it cut off a bit, it's a bit there long. Will not, yeah, we are disappointed and disheartened that Elaine Thompson will not be performing in the meet she dominated over the years. And Cherika's limp up the tracks in her last week was just a temporary setback. Julian Alfred of St. Lucia is emerging as a favorite to bring home a medal for the St. Lucians this time around.
Hmm.
It's heartwarming. Exercising my prophetic gift here. Now, could it be that Jamaica is on the verge once more of reclaiming I assume he was, it's ended there. It could be the sprints, whether it's a 100 meters male. I assume it's Kishane Thompson they're referring to, or he's
Yeah.
referring to. Mike says Faith and Hull are ready for that 1500 meters. That will record might fall again. Certainly, we concentrated a lot on the sprints, but
Yeah.
hey, those long distance, even the pole vault. um, what's about the javelin event, guys? We still have Anderson who's there, and is we hoping that
We talk about that too. You only look at also, I think he'll get himself together. He looks good. And I think when he really needs to throw, which is will be in the Olympics, it will definitely count. I think he's going to throw big, in the Olympic Games. Just watching him throw right now, I think he has so much in the tank left, and I just think he and the coach are just smart to let it out at the right time. I think it's going to be let off in the Olympic Games. I certainly think so. Um, so definitely, I think he'll be fine. But we are also missing a lot of athletes who is not be running. I think Mo is not defending. Um, Rojas in the triple jump, she just recovering from. She's not defending. And who else? We have Elaine, and I think there was one more who is not will be defending. Or at least being there, which is kind of a loss. Oh. what's her name from Bahamas, the 400, 200 meter.
Sh- Shawnee, you're talking about Shawnee Miller Ubo. Um, I think you're back now. Yeah, I think you right.
Yeah, I get to cut off the yeah. So definitely there will be interesting to see new Olympic champions in those events. Certainly. So
Hazel says,
it's gonna be interesting.
Hazel says Grenada will get 3 medals at the Olympics.
I uh, love you, Hazelin. I think it's going to be challenging. I think it's going to
Don't
be challenging. I listen. I when I listen to Lyndon, and he's when Lyndon spoke, he said some things. And he said there are things that he need to get to be better. Um, which talk about the polls for poll vote. You know, if he have those things, he get more points. Certainly. Can Canada go 1 and 2? Certainly, I don't know. And so I think they're going to give it everything they have, especially it's really a tough race. I would pray for that he has nothing but stay away from anything that has to do with injury, that he's going to be injury free, because you miss one event, you
yeah,
almost like done.
that's done.
You're done. So you're trying to avoid that. But if he have the proper tools to help him out, he definitely can get on the podium. If you don't have it's going to be hard. And a lot of athletes is definitely coming out there. You have a lot of athletes that we never hear about, but they've been out there, who's doing this stuff, right? So certainly, I believe he can get a medal. I believe the 400 is still really, really tough. As I said, that's what we spoke. He said it is open. So definitely, there's it's not hard for Kearney to get a medal, but it could be challenging. It could be definitely be challenging because there's a lot of people out there running very well in the 400 meters. And again, I also come back to what I said. If you run smart and you have a plan with the coach, I think it'll be good. So yes, Hazelin, there is the possibility that 3 medals can come home for Grenada. But you know, it's also could be challenging. It also could be challenging.
Yeah,
There
you
is
said.
challenge.
Oh,
There is
okay.
challenge. Yeah, there is
Um,
challenge. There is challenge. It's a strong hill to climb. A very strong hill to climb. But I think it can be done.
so Mike said, if Grenada gets 3 medals at the Olympics, we need to check Adidas for the contract they offer Jamaica. 75% of the team on the podium will be an achievement for the ages. Um, As I said, I believe athletes will show up
Yeah.
when it matters most. It will not be easy, but we have faith. Yeah, we all have faith, Hazel.
Yeah, that's what I said, and that's what I honestly think about Peterson. I think he will show up in the javelin on that time. I really think he will show up. Yeah.
So Clev is finishing his comments where he says Keishan Thompson, yes. He says Anderson's problem is no longer physical but mental, psychological.
Man.
Once that impediment is purged, there will be a space for him on the podium,
Yeah.
right? And Roger says, my major disappointment at every Olympics and Football World Cup, sponsors with franchises or distributors here on island fail to provide fans with event paraphernalias. Which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad, Yeah,
It is. It is certainly is. Yeah.
yeah, I understand the pain.
Yeah. Certainly
Let
is.
me see if I can get I think Shawnee may be in. I think Shawnee is in, but I'm looking to see what discipline
Yeah.
she is in.
Yeah. I did see something, but then I saw another article saying that she won't be there. But I don't know. In the
But
last
she is,
round.
yeah, she is in. She's actually in terms of the last entry, right?
Yeah.
She's in, and the entry was published just a day or two ago.
A day or two ago.
She's
Yeah.
actually, yeah, she's actually in for the 400 meters, right?
Yeah.
She is in there among the females. They have one, two, three, four, five. five, yeah, five of them in there, and she's the only one for the 400 meters for that. So
Okay,
Shawnee,
so that's a good thing. So Shani is
will-
there,
she-
but like I said,
so she
for
will.
her, it's a hard hill to climb for
The last I
her.
got was a World Cup Coca-Cola glass in the 80s. Nothing for Olympics.
Yeah, I have some of that too. I have some of those too, Roger.
Yeah, I remember those World Cup glasses back
The
then.
World Cup
Yeah,
glasses. Yeah, I think mine is still somewhere in my house in Grenada.
they were they are cherished items. Cherished
Yeah,
items.
yeah, there certainly was. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And even up here, McDonald's used to do it too up here. Have those
yeah.
those glass, but I wonder if those was Olympics. No, no, I want to think if it was Olympics, but who knows?
All right. So guys, so the track and field section of the Paris Olympic Games, the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, actually start and from the first starts on the 1st of August. Is from the 1st to 11th. Athletes from 200 teams will compete across the program of 48 events, which includes 23 women's discipline and 23 men's discipline, as well as two mixed events. We have the 4x4 mixed relay and the
Yeah,
marathon race walk mixed relay.
race walk.
So
Yeah,
even the marathon race walk has a mixed relay in it, right? We have the mixed events, the 4x4 mixed relays, and that's it. Um,
yeah,
among the entries are 36 of the Tokyo Olympic champions in individual events who will defend their titles. They include all but one of the individual defending champions in the men's events and 15 in the women's events. As we talk about Faith in the 1500, we have Sydney McLaughlin LeBron in the 400 meters hurdles. We have Warhol in the 400 meters hurdles. We have Duplantis in the pole vault, Cruiser in the shot put, Anita in the hammer among the world record holders who return
yeah.
targeted back-to-back Olympic titles, right? Then there's also the Dutch runner, Stefan Hassan, sorry, I should say, has been entered actually in 4 events, as well as defending of 5,000 and
Yeah, the
10,000
5,000 and the
titles.
10,000. Yeah,
She's also been lined up for the 1500 meters and the marathon.
yeah.
Wow, that would be a kill, boy. You know,
Yeah, okay. But she is phenomenal to watch. She is phenomenal to watch. Yeah.
yeah. And the youngest athlete entered is Kaniwete of Kiribati, who will be 16 years, 4 months, and 6 days when he lines up for the first round of the 100 meters. That is the stage we're talking about where you compete to get into the
You
Olympics,
compete to
right?
get in. You compete to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't know. I don't know what 16-year-old running 10.2, so 10.1. So yeah.
and then we have Australia's senior diva is the oldest athlete entered. She will be 47 years, 4 months, and 24 days on the day of the marathon. All right. Yeah.
So I can still try a thing, Michael. I can still go back in the gym and try to get
Yeah,
something for LA.
but that's a marathon, and I'm certain her thing is not so much. That is not so much about on the podium,
On the
but so
podium
much
is
about
just being involved. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Competing. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
I would like to see, like when you start you started the show with seeing more sporting discipline for yeah, we'll certainly do that. More sporting discipline in the Caribbean for other sports. I really like to see that for the next Olympics. There's so much other sport that introduce. I mean, the cricket is there. We just don't know how it works yet, and definitely got to see how to get in. But certainly, like to see other sporting discipline than the swimming and the track and field and a little boxing here and there. Like to see more of the sporting. It's like I really would like to see that in the some Caribbean. You know, hopefully, and then hopefully next Olympic we could get our volleyball girls to qualify. And certain things like that. So see what happened, and But
Right. So let's wrap up now. Let me see. Any comments? Now, we spoke about that earlier, Claire. We don't have any things, but we don't have any official word as to why, but just that I think the South Africa and the ASA, the South African Athletics Association, just indicated that he's listed to compete only in the men's 200 meters. That's according to the South African Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee confirmed that their biggest track and field star will focus on the half lap race alone, right?
yeah,
He's also listed, though, in the pool of runners available for selection in the men's relays, right? Whether it's a 4x1 or the 4x4, he is listed to compete, but
it's
he's
listed to
definitely
compete. Yeah,
will compete only in the 200 meters and not in the 400. We have no official, they haven't given any official reason as to why. But, he has been, I think they believe he has a chance of making the podium,
in the
um,
200.
meters over the 4. I don't know, but that's it.
And I said that's why they're smart. They go to the table and they said, "Man, it's too much 400-meter men running out there, and it's tough. Let's focus on that." But that's what coaches do, right? They look at what's happening out there and they look at what you're doing and they just change things around.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, he has a sister who will be also in the Olympics. I think she's playing hockey. So it's
Feel hockey,
in the South African
feel
hockey. I
hockey
think
for South Africa, feel hockey. Yeah,
she's Kayla. Um, yeah, hockey, field hockey,
feel
the
hockey.
women's
Yeah,
hockey. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, feel
So,
hockey.
folks, let me see any other final comments. Would Mo be participating in any other meet since she did not qualify in the race
She
that
might
was
be doing
held?
some Diamond League.
All?
I didn't see her in
I
this last Diamond League, but
Yes, I can see Hazeland, Jamara Shifonia, and Melanie in the 400. What's about beach volleyball? Rudy, and how can you begin to get athletes here in Grenada to run low 10s or sub 10s? It's a big
Jeez.
challenge, right? They have more competition.
You need. Well. I think you need coaches who have the understanding for sprints. I think a lot
Sprints.
of our coaches focus on like in the past with the 400 and so forth. I think we need that, and certainly if we can get that,
Mhm.
I think you're going to see a lot more of that. A lot of people want to send their athletes. Like I had a conversation with someone yesterday. Actually, one of my athletes. A lot of people send their athletes to Jamaica. A lot of countries. A lot of countries spend thousands and thousands of dollars, sending their athletes to Jamaica and compete, and nothing come out from them. You know, you don't hear about them. You don't see them on the world stage. As I said, sometimes you think if you go here, you're going to run better, you're going to run faster. No, not necessarily. The sport is still individually. You have to put the work in, and if you don't put the work in, the results cannot be there. Not going to a coach. A coach cannot help you run fast. You could only run fast. The coach can give you the tools, and then you apply the tools and run fast. But you also have to do it, right? So I think that's what one of the things is. If we really focus on sprints, 100, 200, having camps in the Caribbean, having good coaches who understand the race and who understand what's needed. Certainly, it's a good. I have one issue with young athletes under the age of 17 really doing weights. And that's certainly is a challenge for me. I don't really let my athletes do any major weights. So then, if an athlete go there, yes, and complain on weights and putting the weights and getting strong, would it shrink their growth? What would it do to them at before a certain age, right? So a lot of that makes that difference in terms of suddenly understanding, listening to the right people and nutrients and all these things in them. But certainly, if they can do that, we could have Grenada having some good 100 meters sprinters to come.
Right. Well, folks, that's all for this week. Hopefully we'll try to continue the discussion next Saturday, God's willing, because we're getting closer. By then, we'll
And
have an
closer,
idea
yeah, of what's
of
happening. Yeah,
what's happening, how we're looking. And we want to concentrate on not just our Canadian
Yeah.
athletes, but we want to
Yeah.
concentrate
And
on our
by then we will
Caribbean
know who is
countries.
our Grenadian athletes too. I
Well,
believe there is six. I
we have an
believe there
idea.
is six of them going. I believe
We
there
have
is
an
six of them going.
we have an
But
idea of
definitely
we have an idea of
we'll
those.
definitely
We
have
know
them
the
on.
top few athletes, and then
Yeah.
I think we have
And if you could get some of them on, Michael, for next week,
yeah,
or sometime soon before they head out, it will be also good. Just
yeah,
to
okay.
kind of
I'll
talk to
probably
them and their
I'll probably
mindset, right?
try. I'll try to the athletes commission, right? I know
Yeah.
Hazel is on,
I
so she
think
probably
yeah.
will help us. Yeah. Thanks very much.
We'll work that out. Yeah. All right.
Okay
Have
then.
a good one, guys. Thanks again.
Same to you. Okay then. Right, folks. So that's all for this week. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to your company come next weekend, God's willing, when we continue the discussion on our road to Paris 2024, where we'll have more discussion. Hopefully, we'll have our athletes, some of our athletes, I should say, with us, talking about their preparation, their journey, and what they're looking forward to for Paris 2024. Until then, do have yourself a pleasant week.